Thank you, Marissa, and thank you, Design Trust. I apologize that I'm not there with you in Hong Kong to receive this honor. It's been a very tough time for me. Only 2 weeks since I lost my partner in life and work, Ricardo Scofidio. He will be profoundly missed by me, the members of my studio, and all the students he taught and all the people he touched through his work, his generosity, his humor, and his compassion. I can say that his inspiration remains in me and the studio we built together since 1981. We'll continue to push the envelope and build on the relations with collaborators and institutions with whom we share values. And that's why I'm here tonight, at least in spirit. Before going any further, I want to make a personal shout out to Marissa. I've followed her career for over 2 decades. From when she was a student at Princeton, I had a sense that with her talent and confidence, she would be someone to watch out for in the future. Fast forward 8 years, as chief curator of the Hong Kong Shenzhen Biennale, I thought Marissa, with her ambition and skills, was well on her way to becoming an influential figure in the field. Jump to 2014, when she co-founded Design Trust. I was convinced then that Marissa, with her strong vision and boundless drive, was a cultural entrepreneur. And now, over the past decade, witnessing her relentless advocacy of design with committed staff, partnerships, and growing programs, I see that Marissa has established herself as a true leader. Few people in a generation have the vision, the intelligence, the drive, and the survival skills to become leaders. Even fewer have the endurance to maintain the health of an organization, to defend it in a time when cultural institutions are challenged financially, under siege politically, everywhere, or deemed unessential. But they are as essential as the air we breathe and the water we drink. This recognition has made me reflect on the trajectory of the practice that Rick and I started in the early 80s as architectural dissidents, challenging all institutions as well as the institution of architecture itself. We felt that the profession was intellectually bankrupt and morally corrupt. But we were always doing architecture, but we were doing it on our own terms, defined by research agendas, independent of clients, independent of budgets, independent of schedules, and legal constraints. But we wanted to broaden the boundaries of the discipline. We made installations in alternative spaces and works for experimental theater and dance. We delved into time-based media and interactive technologies very early on. We made works in print, in mist, in ice, in chocolate, in jeans. In those early days, grants and fellowships, like those that the Design Trust sponsors, were an absolute lifeline to survival. They provided support for our independent work while we were finding our voice, always focused on rethinking institutions, cities, and conventions of the everyday. Across time, the voice of the studio matured, and we learned to navigate architecture's untapped agency, that of patience and persuasiveness. If we wanted to make real change, we had to win a seat at the table, which ultimately allowed us to translate provocations into meaningful action in cities and in institutions. For us, it wasn't enough to be critics and lob grenades at institutions from the outside. We could challenge those institutions from the inside if we entered through the front door. The opportunity to look critically at our world gave us a toolkit to tackle the basic questions that would manifest themselves as buildings, parks, and master plans. Charles Renfro and Ben Gilmartin joined me and Rick to help the studio grow organically in order to take on progressively larger and more challenging projects. But across this journey, we have never stopped making self-generated independent works, like Deep Blue Sea with choreographer Bill T. Jones, a dance work about race relations in America, or the Canal Cafe for the Venice Biennale, which will draw water from the canal and before your very eyes turn it into the best espresso in Italy. Or the mile-long opera, a musical performance featuring 1,000 singers performing for a mobile audience using the High Line as an urban stage. The opera was conceived, produced, and directed by an architecture studio. To all the young architects and designers out there, I encourage you to take risks, take on ambitions that you're not qualified to do, and you will do your best work. Taken together, the High Line and the mile-long opera may be our most complete urban project. The High Line, a paradigm-shifting project for New York City with a viral effect that spread to over 100 cities across the globe. And the mile-long opera, a reflection on the urban change we unwittingly produced that created a split in the neighborhood between the winners and the losers. These two projects demonstrated to me that architecture, perhaps more than any other discipline, carries a huge cultural responsibility. Through it, we impose our will on hundreds, thousands, even millions of people, not only for the duration of a 90-minute film or a 300-page book or a fashion season, but for the long term. And this long term is a challenge for a culture that's in perpetual flux, politically, economically, socially, environmentally, technologically. Change has never been faster. Architecture has never felt slower. The discipline needs radical rethinking to question the conventions of built structures, to secure the stewardship of the environment beyond geopolitical borders, and to assert a strong collective voice for design in a world full of competing priorities. One thing we know, space matters. Democratizing it matters, and not letting it go to the highest bidder matters. Designers in all fields have a responsibility to defend the space of the public, sometimes under the radar, sometimes in plain sight. And to protect us, we need institutions. Design Trust is a civic-minded cultural institution that has become an indispensable part of Hong Kong's cultural infrastructure, with tentacles around the globe. I am here not only to accept this honor and to celebrate what Design Trust has already accomplished, but to support its continued growth and evolution, to help it promote new voices and practices, to drive the discourse, and to continue to challenge the status quo. Thank you.